Maine Knows How. Brought to you by A&G Shooting, Modern Woodmen of America, Mainly Handrails, Pine Grove Programs, Digital Spirit Media, and J.W. Parks Golf Course. Maine Knows How.
Okay, welcome to the January edition of Maine Knows How. We have January, we have cold.
We do.
We have insulated clothing, so it's okay.
It's all good.
What else do we have going on, Bob?
Well, days are getting longer.
They are getting longer. We're gaining, baby.
Gaining. Rabbit hunting's going on, coyote hunting, ice fishing, and snowmobiling.
And I understand that our sidekick, our color guy,
Right.
Wyatt,
Yep.
he too has other things to do.
Yep.
So he's not here today.
He's not. He went to visit his friends that he went to Norwich with. And
Okay.
he's a political analyst now for the Republican Party.
Wyatt is?
No, his buddy that he went to see.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's amazing. So we've got a cheap substitute today.
Well, he's a nice fellow, though.
He is. And his, we have here Jeff Leskowoski, or Ski, or Jeff Ski, however you want to call it. He's been here at the lodge for several years as a guide, and he's been a great partner with Pine Grove Programs. And Jeff, we just want to welcome you.
Thank you.
It's
a pleasure being here.
To the show, and as you can tell, we have a little fun.
Yeah.
Leskowoski. It's been the challenge of my day.
You're not the first one. You won't be the last.
That won't be the last. So
For 10 years, I tried to freeze him to death. I would bring him
That's no
bobcat
lie.
hunting with a fellow that worked with me for a long time named Dave Atwood. And it would be 25 below out. And I said, Jeff, you got to ride on the dog sled. He'd be riding on the back of the dog sled looking for a cat track.
Yeah.
He'd be frozen right on. Yeah, but he went all the time.
Spent some cold days out there.
Yeah, jeez, I'm
30 below with wind chill.
ugh,
But it was fun.
I have a good friend who says there's no such thing as bad weather.
Right.
It's just bad clothing.
Yep.
So if you get dressed for it,
You
I
can sit
guess.
inside all day.
Well, that's what I do when I ice fish. I have my shack with a wood stove in it. So
Yeah, and it's red.
and it is red. Well, welcome, Jeff. We hope that you have a good time, and as you can tell, we have a good time here. So
Hopefully I can fill in.
I hope so. Wyatt is a tough act to follow,
Yeah, he is. But he's young.
but he's young, and he's out doing his thing. So that's all good.
Yep.
So it's January. We have next month. We have coming up a big event.
Yep.
We have the
Fishing Derby.
Yep,
Yep, February 15th.
and that's right here on Wyman Lake.
It is. It is. It's a great time. Looks like the lake's going to be good,
Yep.
and it's already froze. And we're looking forward to have you folks come out and help us with this event. It's a
Traditionally,
fundraiser for the program.
Yep.
Once in a while, we have to raise money.
we have to raise money,
Once
folks.
in a while.
But listen, if anybody wants to venture north to the Bingham area,
Yeah.
It's always a good time.
it's a great time, and we have great fun on the lake, and we have hundreds of people show up, and
Some nice sponsors.
Yep.
They already donated. Tim and his wife already donated an auger to us, and the guys at the sports shop, the Trading Post over there in Newport, they always donate to us, and a lot of different people do. So
Yep.
it's really nice. Steve's Pastries, they always give us all these whoopie pies. We give them to everybody.
right.
So stuff like
No,
that.
great family event. I mean, and
We
Jeff,
have-
of all people, we got to get outside.
You do. You have to be outside. And this is a good time to be out there. We draw people from all over the state. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes it can be a little chilly, but we always run a heater. And, we have great prizes. The girls work hard at setting everything up, getting everything ready for us.
Yeah.
And we really like to have a good turnout. It's just, it's an enjoyable day.
It is.
It's what better day to be out on the ice, especially if the sun's shining and it's 10 degrees out.
With
no
the
place
sun
better.
out, it makes all the difference
It does.
in
It
the
makes
world.
a big difference. You get a lot of that reflective heat off that ice.
Geez, I'd like to say thanks to the warden service, though.
Yes.
Over the
Yes.
years, that lake wouldn't freeze, and we didn't know what it was like further up, and I'd contact them, and then they would send people out, check the ice for me, and give me their evaluation of it. And if they said, nah, it ain't good, Bob, then we would cancel it and change to the date.
Yeah.
They even sent me pictures from their plane flying over it. So I'd like to say thank you very much to the warden service.
Yep.
And for helping us out.
Yeah. No, we traditionally had this scheduled the third or fourth week in January,
Right.
but we had a couple years there where it just didn't
No.
didn't
It was white
cooperate.
caps.
It was white caps out there.
We thought we had good ice, and then the ice disappeared.
Yeah.
No,
No.
it's just. But if anybody wants to volunteer, we're always looking for volunteers to help out that day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We have a lot of things going on.
A lot of stuff going on. Lots and lots of stuff.
So just contact the program. You can see the email address and send us an inquiry, and we'll get back to you. But it's great for the families. It's great to get the kids out there.
It's a good way to expose the kids to.
Yeah.
We're going to have some special kids prizes this year, and for the length of whatever they catch, and we'll have special prizes for kids.
So Bob, we have Wyman Lake, which is big,
It is.
big lake,
Yeah.
and I know we choose that strategically because there's so many tributaries that come into it, and there are a lot of good fish out there. What are they catching when they're ice fishing?
How do they catch brook trout? Splake? Perch? Once in a while, somebody catches a lake trout, but not a lot. But they are there.
Yep.
There's some smallmouth in there. There's salmon in there. And we get a variety of different kinds of stuff.
And when we have the weigh-in, it's
Right.
usually around 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right?
We'll have the weigh-in, and we'll have different categories for prizes
Right.
for each of the
Exactly.
species.
Yep. So, and we'll have a category for the kids as well.
Right.
Yeah. So they can maybe catch maybe we'll do something like the longest yellow perch
Right.
and things like that. We're just trying to change it up and make a little more family orientated, but it's almost all families that go.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's great with the pop-up tents now that you have, and you get the heaters in there,
Right.
and it's so much easier to deal. Especially if we get some cold weather or some windy weather. But it's still just getting out there is a great time. But we also have some other things going on. We mentioned rabbits, but we have coyotes going too.
We do. We've been baiting for a month now, and we've already harvested them, and we have quite a few people coming to go hunting on. Yeah.
Well, the coyotes, as we've learned in past podcasts, you get one coyote, you save at least 7 deer
Right.
because they're out there really.
Knocking the population down on the coyotes is a good thing here.
Yeah.
We have way too many. They had a good year last year. They shot a lot of coyotes last year, and we're hoping for the same thing this year.
I know they've gotten off to a pretty good start with the coyote. It's a night hunting.
Some are.
Well, you can do both.
Yep.
Can you?
Yes, you can hunt daytime and night.
But they're very
They're
coy.
to put it mildly.
And if people from the program would like to go, they could contact us, veterans, policemen, firemen, first responders, but we need serious hunters.
Right.
I need people because these guys are sharp, and you educate
Coyotes.
them.
Yeah.
You educate them, and you're never getting them back to that bait again. So we really need guys that are sighted in and want to do this and not just show up and raise hell and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no goober. This is not for goobers.
No.
It could be a long sit. It could,
And cold.
It can be cold,
Yeah.
Right.
but it can be a long day or a long night. I mean, we've had guys in the past sit all night long, sit from dark till daylight, and been successful.
Yep.
And we put heaters in the shacks, but you can't bang around in that shack
be
and
quiet.
turn up your phone and talk to your wife and all. Game over. You're wasting your time.
You're wasting your
Stay
time.
home. And you're educating my coyotes.
Yeah.
So listen, if anybody has any questions about the fishing derby, you can check on our website. You can see the dates of that. You can even buy tickets for the fishing derby. But if you have any questions, just reach out, coyotes, whatever, at pinegroveprograms.org. And we can get you all the answers to all your questions. But we're going to take a break now. We'll be back in a few minutes. And we have Alan Swett from the Maine Snowmobile Association that's going to be here when we come back. So see you in a minute.
Maine Knows How is brought to you by J.W. Parks Golf Course in Pittsfield, a 9-hole facility with a full-service pro shop and driving range offering daily fee golf and membership opportunities. And by A&G Shooting, a brick-and-mortar gun shop offering firearms training and 100% customer satisfaction. And by Digital Spirit Media, providing over 30 years of technical expertise in media production and event production services.
All right. Well, here we are. We're back at Maine Knows Howe. And as I mentioned going out, that our special guest this month is Alan Swett from the Maine Snowmobile Association. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great.
It's wonderful.
Great to have you here.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
These guys work hard.
they do.
You know how many trails that he has to oversee and all the clubs and all the stuff. There's a lot of work for very little pay.
Right. So tell us about the organization, how it's organized and the
Yeah,
clubs
sure.
and things.
Maine Snowmobile Association has been around for like 57 years now. We have over 280 clubs. We have over 14,000 miles of trail that stretch from the south to the north, from Kittery to Madawaska, and everywhere in between.
Wow.
And it's quite a chore to keep everybody on the same page. Landowners are our top priority. Number one, whatever they want, they get because of their generosity of letting us use their land, which is over 96% of our trails are on private property. 96%.
Wow.
So if they call and say we'd like to have this trail moved, okay, we'll see what we can do. You know, we'll send a team out there to see what has to happen. The trouble is the South is moving north, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but they don't understand our whole snowmobile philosophy and how much of economic impact that brings to our state. You know, in the tune of over $700 million per year.
Wow.
It's serious money, taxes and so on and so forth. But it's a big deal, and I'm pretty proud of what we've done, what we've accomplished in the last few years. Our executive director retired, and we didn't know what we were going to do. Then we went into COVID, and that was a bad situation. And but we made it through it, and we've got our the same reputation and foundation that we had before, and it's done really well.
I mean, snowmobiling has really, even coming out of COVID, it became very popular because you were outdoors and you were distanced,
Right.
and people were really getting into it.
After COVID, everybody wanted to be outdoors, which was good for our industry. Right. Sales went up, membership went up. It was just a really blessing in disguise, so to speak. But we've done really well, actually.
It was a shock to me traveling around the state. I was traveling in the winter quite a bit, and I would pull into the hotel, and I'd go in and I'd get my room, and I'd come out a couple hours later, and half of the parking lot was filled with snowmobiles.
Right. It's incredible.
It's just like, what is going on here? And the hotel was packed out. I mean, the economic impact
is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Our supporting businesses are second to none. You know, and we support those businesses. The last couple of years has been iffy because of the weather, and they count on us to take them through to the next season. The economic impact on snowmobiling is incredible. First, the customer has to buy clothing. And they have all these new space age clothing that we invest a lot of money in, inner, mid, outer, good helmets. And then we go buy a snowmobile, which is incredibly expensive right now, but they're good. They last a long, long time. New 4-stroke sleds are the way to go. Even the 2-strokes are still in popularity, so they're still right up there. Then you got to have a trailer if you don't have a trail beside your house. And those are expensive. So everything falls on the customer buying this stuff and supporting businesses, whether it be buying something at LL Bean or Moosehead Motorsports, so on and so forth, a Nitro trailer down the road here at Charlie's, Elcom from Scott's. It's incredible how everything all mixes together and forms one big circle.
Yeah.
And that's what that's all about. And then after that time, you go, well, I'm going to have reservations at Caribou Motor Inn, and I'm going to spend a week up there in Caribou, or Millinocket, and so on and so forth, Greenville, Jackman, Rangeley. They're big destination points. A Jackman is a big destination point. A destination point is they have everything that services us. They have service for your snowmobile. They have food to eat. They have spectacular scenery. If your sled breaks down, you can fix it, so on and so forth. And
They've got the hotels there.
The motels are there, you know. I mean, yeah, Bishop's up there in Jackman, and so on and so forth. It's just, it just rolls on from destination point to destination point. And Maine was ranked like 3rd in the nation for the last 2 years for destination points for snowmobiling. And that was only behind the Upper Peninsula in Michigan and big area out in Wyoming way. And that's quite a compliment for us.
Sure.
And we really took a step forward.
We
this
really
year
took, yes, Bob,
with
absolutely.
that vote, and they decided that they're really going to get serious about this.
Yeah, and it was about time they did that, because that question 4, the referendum that we had, was all done in solidarity. I mean, you know, you got a guy that snowshoes, you got a guy that cross-country skis, ATV folks, the snowmobile folks, the horseback. We all got into that together, and we did. It was remarkable. It was a great feeling that everybody got together and did that.
Let's go back, Alan. I mean, a lot of people watching may not know about the referendum you're speaking about. So, you know, tell me about the referendum and what it was all about and why this is so significant.
Question 4 that exploded on the political scene passed. It was a $30 million bond, which, you know, they asked me about it. $30 million. What do we get out of it? And they said, well, you're going to get 25% and non-motorized will get 25%. I said, well, it'd be nice to have a little more than that. But after they convinced me, I brought it back to the members, and they said, well, yeah, you know, it's okay. But there was still a lot of doubt in that. And I said, listen, it's better than nothing. You guys are out spending $300,000 for a piston bully, or pre-north or whatever. Plus, you got to spend another $30,000 for a drag. I said, any money that we get will be a big addition for us. And where the registrations have been down for so long, the last few years, that's where our money goes for our grants to get to buy that new equipment. And that's going to be a big deal. And that's going to come around in October for us. So we gotta inform the clubs to get their grant writing in order, and we're gonna flood that Department of Conservation office down there with grant applications.
So the trail system that we have, I want to spend a few minutes talking about that, because it's not like it's a trail in the middle of the woods that's not marked and it's not maintained. And I mean, this is a year-round activity. You're out there cutting tree limbs back, widening things, but you're also posting speed limits and crosses. And I mean, there's actually a network that you can follow on a map.
You can.
To know where you're going. So
you can follow that on your GPS, Polaris Ride Command, and BRP is GPS systems. They have a contract, both those manufacturers, with us. There's an outfit out of New England GPS in Massachusetts that's awesome too. But yeah, the network of trails are phenomenal, and they're all built by volunteers. I mean, they do the widening of the trails, they build the bridges, and this time last year we were washed out, completely washed out. I mean, we had holes on the Farmington-Wilton branch that was 200 feet long, 80 feet deep.
Wow.
So we couldn't get from Wilton to Jay, you know, Farmington to Jay. And we had bridges washed out all over the place. Bridges that was 65 feet downriver, downstream.
Wow.
And those guys went out and they rebuilt the whole system from, like I said, Madawaska to Rangeley and so on and so forth.
Was that the Christmas storm?
The Christmas storm.
Yep.
They got that all built. Then it rained again in June, and all the hard work they did. So back to question 4, whatever we can get for money, that's what we're going to, you know, we'll update and do that. But yeah, it's just the volunteers in Maine are incredible.
Yeah.
You know.
And in the greater context with that referendum, as you had mentioned, Alan, there's a certain percentage that was set aside for motorized, non-motorized. So it's really a recognition. Most of the referendum didn't pass, but this one did.
Overwhelmingly.
Yes, overwhelmingly. And because Maine is becoming such a great place for hiking, for cross-country, you know, activities. I mean, just going longer distances and doing things and camping out. But then you have snowshoeing, you have snowmobiling, you have ATV trails, you have and mountain
Bicycles,
bike
that's a big
trails.
deal too now.
Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's really a wonderful thing. But all of these systems, I would think, kind of can
You know,
mix.
we built most of those trails too that everybody's using, which is okay with me and okay with our membership. But I think Maine was behind a little bit, and now this is going to give us a really big boost to help us and make us number 1 in New England anyhow, you know. But our son lives in Northern California, and when we go out to visit, you're in awe of what they do for the bicyclists and the walkers and so on and so forth. I mean, it's just phenomenal. They've got huge trails going along the Truckee River, you know, that's the scenery is spectacular, and that's what we can have here. We can do that here and become that big destination point that I talk about. Yeah.
I want to talk about the machinery that you have to use, but first I just want to, you know, put a poke in here that what an incredible way to see Maine on these trails, because you're not on a highway, like a paved highway. You're in the middle of the woods.
Right. It's awesome.
Yes.
It is awesome.
Plus, for people that can't afford a snowmobile, there's plenty of rentals in the state.
There's plenty of rentals. Northern Outdoors does a great job renting sleds. They have, I think Mallory down the road.
201 Power
201
Sport.
Power
They're
Sport.
really taking that from nothing.
Yeah, they
and
have.
they work their butts off.
They did.
And you know, they do summer and they do the winter.
It's incredible the amount of business it brings into this little town.
It's phenomenal. It is.
There's nothing here to start with.
No.
And these recreations is what's saving our town.
It is. No question about it.
Especially snowmobile season.
Yep.
I mean, the motel's full. I mean, even here at the lodge, you know, it's incredible how much it generates with these trails.
Right. And that's another thing about a destination point, you know, another description of a destination point with the rental sleds and so on and so forth. But it's just incredible what we do.
Do the rentals areas, will they also rent outfits?
They do.
Oh yeah, they did.
So
everything.
people don't have to go out and spend $1,000 on a complete suit.
Yeah, you get $1,000 in a net and $12,000 into a machine, and you're pretty, you know, for the average person, you know, it's tough to do. And then you have the weekenders that just come for They come for a weekend, or they come for a week. They come from where they don't have snow, and to them to buy a snowmobile or to buy a suit, it just doesn't make sense.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I get so many people that come and say, "Don't tell anybody," because there's not many people that ride on this side of the river.
Yeah.
No.
And we can ride right through April a lot of the time. So we got good snowpack, and it's not beat up by a lot of sleds.
Right.
And they love it. They said, we can bring our kids, we can bring our family. They ain't going 100 miles an hour, and I can see scenery, and I can see moose, and
they feel safe riding
they
there.
do.
And there's a lot of areas like that. This area for Bob, Lexington, across
Great
the
club.
ridge, you know, they have an awesome club.
Yeah.
We did Coben Mountain. That used to be a secret.
Right.
Oh my God.
Ain't no secret no
It ain't
more.
no secret no more. But that was spectacular scenery there. Quill Hill over in Rangeley. The
Right,
Rangeley Club
yeah,
does excellent job with Mr. Brosho and his family.
Right.
That's spectacular over there. Yeah.
So the machinery,
Okay.
you know, how is it that you spend all of the off season prepping, widening, branching, building bridges and making it wide enough and safe enough, but then the snow comes.
Then the snow comes. So then we go out with our new piston bullies and pre-norths and so forth. And we have most of the time a roller, a big drum roller that will pack the trail down. Most of the clubs did that in the last couple of weeks when we had that pretty good snow. Then we had this cotton ball snow, and they were able to use that. Yeah, those groomers are some big money. And if you break down, that's a big expense for you.
Right.
So those clubs have to sell a lot of chicken barbecues,
Yeah.
a lot of raffles. That's another thing. We have MSA supports a raffle every year in December. And half of that money that they get, that they sell a ticket for, goes in their checkbook, and the other half goes in ours, helps us pay for the prizes and what have you. So that's a big deal, you know. But it's pretty
Is that
good.
you, Bob?
That's Bob.
Somebody wants you, buddy.
Somebody always wants.
Somebody always. It's good to be wanted.
It is.
Yeah.
Make them go away. So
It's a coyote hunter, a veteran coyote
that's
hunter.
he's
Like to
been
go
watching the podcast live, right?
He'd like to go coyote hunting. And we've been going back and forth with each other.
So Alan, we have these groomers,
Right.
And you refer to them as piston bulls and
Piston Bullies, that's a manufacturer name.
Oh, okay.
Piston Bully and Pre-North,
Yeah.
Pre-North, Tucker, that's another one. We have some distributors, manufacturers right here in New England, and they do an excellent job delivering and servicing it all.
Yeah. And the clubs purchase these?
The clubs purchase them through a grant program.
Yep.
But they never have enough money in the grant fund from the state. So that's why they have the barbecues at Lexington twice a year.
Yep.
The raffles that we put on, they have raffles of their own. They have auctions. Ripley Club has an auction in October every year. They get a lot of donations. To buy that stuff. But the registrations are a big key because if you don't register, that grant money is way down
Goes
here.
down.
You know, and he has only so much to give out. But that's a big deal. So I registered my sled right away, and I've asked people at Snow, do you register your sled? No, I'll wait until it snows. Well, you really got to do it now. You know?
It is easier now. I assume you can do it online.
Yeah, you can do just about
It
anything
used to be
online.
we had to go down to the town office
yeah.
and we had to talk to somebody for half an hour and,
Yeah,
and now
exactly.
we can do it in a minute.
Yeah.
But give me a day in the life of one of these groomers, the machines. I mean, there are volunteers involved.
Volunteers. Very few clubs pay their groomer operators. Rangeley does, and maybe a couple others. But yeah, those guys, they work all day, and then they go out and they groom all night. You know, they groom a lot of trails, a lot of mileage. It's phenomenal what they do. They can smooth those trails out like your floor.
Right.
It's phenomenal what they do. You know.
Yeah,
I used to groom 38 miles of trail.
You did?
You
I
did.
did.
Yep.
And then I had, with the club over in Lexington, I said, I have a lot of veterans, and they're looking for jobs to do. They're 100%ers. And so I put on a veteran grooming school. And got all that stuff, taught them how to do it, and we went grooming. The club brought sleds over. We had pipe drags. We didn't have big sleds.
Yep.
Big drags, and they went through the course, and they all passed. And then I brought them over, and then Wright Pinkham showed them how to run a piston bully.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
That was a Cadillac.
Yeah, and then they could go any place now
Yeah.
with a certificate saying that they were taught and get a job or groom. That's better than sitting home doing nothing.
Well, I guess one of the takeaways is that if you're snowmobiling in Maine and you're on a trail that is as wide as the snowmobile and it's really rough, you're probably heading to somebody's house coming off of a trail.
Probably. Yeah. Private trail, yeah. That could be, yeah.
There's a lot of them in Maine.
There are a lot of them
those
in Maine. But,
people
Yeah.
people from their house to the main trail.
Right.
They'll
yeah.
they'll-
A lot of things in that situation, we have signage that,
Yes.
blank signs, they'll put private trail on it.
Right.
No admitted, so on and so forth. But we have all kinds of different signage that goes out there.
I love the idea that you can start at a certain location and do a circuit, and you can ride all day, stop at a hotel that has restaurants in the area, then the next day go from there to another
Right.
location and make a circle or make a loop out and back and spend a couple days doing it. But when you get out into the Maine woods, I mean, it really came alive for me going down the Allagash on our canoe trip.
There's nothing like it, is it?
There isn't nothing like it.
Yeah.
Try to explain
Crazy.
to people what you're missing in Maine.
It's true wilderness.
True wilderness, absolutely.
And nobody gets to see that. It's
No.
it's just so great. And the night snowmobiling.
Oh, that's another good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Watch out for the deer
Watch out for
And the
deer.
moose.
and the moose.
And the moose.
Yeah.
I was the first time I went out night snowmobiling. Our leader, he knew exactly where we were. He had done these, I'm in the back and on an underpowered snowmobile, and it's 5 degrees outside, and I'm just looking up and you see these stars everywhere.
Spectacular.
And we get to a ledge and we're looking over a whole valley, which was with the bright sun, the moonlight coming down, and it was absolutely beautiful. But I was convinced that the leader had no idea where we were.
Yeah, really, huh? Oh, God. Yeah.
But he did. So
You talked about, leaving someplace and getting on our network. The state just bought, I call them Madison Branch. I was an old railroad guy. So the Madison Branch from Oakland to Emden, they purchased, which was I'm a railroad guy, so I hated to see that rail ripped up.
yep.
But that trail is incredible.
Yep.
The reason they bought it was to get central Maine to the North Maine woods. And it is working. It is working.
Really good.
Really good. And now we've got the situation down the trail with that other gentleman. That's all gone away now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be awesome. But
So is
yeah,
that going to be a multi-purpose
it's
trail?
a multi-purpose trail. You can horseback, you can ATV, snowmobile, bicycle, whatever you want.
Wow.
Our Bingham Trail now will be open from north to south, and
Yep.
I
That's
talked
awesome.
to him at church the other day, and he's opening up other places as well.
Got it.
So,
That's-
Alan, where do you see the future of snowmobiling and the association? Where do you see all that going?
I think our association is strong and stable,
right.
but we rely on the weather. We can't blow snow like Sugarloaf can.
Right.
But yeah, I really think that I think when the Mother Nature turns around, hopefully, keep our fingers crossed, and get some weather like we had when we were growing up,
Right.
Right.
it will come back to normal.
well, I hope we get that weather back.
I
We were
do
just
too,
talking
I
about
mean-
that the other day, that we have not had one of those good snowstorms in 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, exactly.
Although we did last spring have a couple
Yeah.
good dumps there
We did.
that kept me from working in my yard.
The problem with those snows are they're mealy.
They're
They're
really
tough-
soft,
tough,
and you
it's
They don't wait.
tough
and you
riding.
can't groom them too
Can't
much.
do much with those. But
No,
yeah.
I know all about that. When I have to call somebody to come get me out of the snow because I run off the side of the trail and can't
Right.
get myself out.
Yeah.
Alan, when we look at the mass of snowmobilers that are snowmobiling in Maine on your trails, on the trails throughout the state, what percentage are coming from out of state? Are the majority in state? Are they just going recreationally for a day, or are they doing it for a couple days?
Well, a lot of Massachusetts people come to Maine to ride. A lot. Overall, I'd say 20% of out of staters come to Maine now to ride.
Yep.
A lot of that is because one state might have a speed limit sign and they come to Maine and they can giddy up and go. Another state might have fees too much to registration.
Right.
Got to join a club to do this, to do that. Yeah, I think that's the biggest worry right there.
Does the Maine Snowmobile Association have a location, a website that they can see what the snow conditions are?
We have a website, yes, we do, MaineSnowmobileAssociation.com, and that will give you just about all the information you want. As quickly as the clubs give them to us,
Right.
we will post those trail conditions for the folks. Registration, back to, I'm just thinking here, registrations for people from out of state is $71, I believe, and ours is $50.
Right.
Yeah, or it could be $120 too, actually.
You know, one thing, I used to spend a lot of time up in the county and working up there. And the one thing people have to understand is that, generally speaking, you can always find snow in winter in Maine.
Yeah.
It's just where to go.
You got a truck, got a trailer.
Yeah, if you've got a truck in your trailer, you're going to be able to find a place for good snowmobiling.
Yep.
But checking with the association to find out where to go is the key.
That's the big key. The last few weeks, well, last 2 weeks, I'd say, we've had a lot of emails from folks from away,
Right.
wanting to know, I want to go riding, where can I go? You
Right.
know, and at this time, Rangeley has groomed, Greenville has groomed. In the county, it's a little sketchy from what I understand.
Right.
But the thing with the county is when it snows up there, it stays. When they get that snow, it stays.
Right.
And they'll have a snow longer than anybody else.
Exactly.
So
when folks now, you had mentioned 2-cylinder, 4-cylinder,
Yep.
4-cycle, 2-cycle, 4-cycle. What's been the progression with snowmobiles and the expense, but the capabilities and the speed?
well,
Suspension.
suspensions are incredible these days. When we grew up on old motor skis and old skidoos, there was no suspension. They had these little coil springs on the back, no shocks, leaf springs on the front. Today, the suspensions are gas shocks, front and rear. They've got like 13 inches of travel on some of them on the rear. The motors, 4-stroke is a really big seller right now. They still have 2-strokes though that will get you up and go. A lot of the what the customer wants, what the rider wants, entry-level sleds. Skidoo and Polaris now make an entry-level sled, a smaller one. Skidoo's got what they call a Neo, which is a 600, and it's got a reduction in the computer, so it delivers 40 horsepower. They have another one, a Neo Plus, which is 60 horse, which is ideal for your grandchildren or your children or your wife. That's perfect for them. Also, on my snowmobile, it's got a switch on it. It's got Sport, Eco Sport, and I'm going to call it Go Fast. But that's on a 4-stroke thing there, you know.
Right.
But the prices are up there. What you want to do? I've got a long track. I always had shorts, but I've got a 137. That's the biggest seller now for snowmobiles is the crossover 137. Skidoo, Yamaha, Polaris. Unfortunately, we're losing Yamaha now after many years. They're not going to be making sleds anymore.
Really?
Yeah, so that's a big going to be a hole in our side for that. But yeah, Skidoo, Polaris, Arctic Cat. Hopefully everything works out with Arctic Cat because they've suspended production right now because of the bad seasons.
Yeah.
The thing is, the seasons, it wasn't just in Maine that was bad. It was nationwide and into Canada. Yeah. So.
But the reliability of these machines, when I first started doing a little snowmobiling, just getting it started, sometimes it was cold.
Oh my goodness.
And with the oil mixtures, it
Yeah.
could freeze in the lines, and there was no heating elements.
No, these sleds today are phenomenal. They have heated seats. They have air ride suspension that you can press a button as you're going down a trail to adjust the suspension on the rear. Hand warmers, thumb warmers, LED lights, electric start, electronic reverse. It's just list goes on and on and on. But you know, you're spending those Neos start, I believe, at $6,700. So the Polaris equal model would be probably about the same, and they can go up to $23,000 for a snowmobile.
Wow.
They're just incredible.
But they will last for years.
The 4-strokes will last for years. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you take care of your two-stroke, it will also.
I have some two strokes. I have
Yep.
6, 7 two strokes. And I make a living on snowmobiles all winter.
Yep.
Every day we're on a snowmobile,
Right.
hunting.
Yep.
And we use them all the time.
Yeah.
And
Them old sleds go good.
They run really good. And
Yeah.
I have some that are antiques now. They're
wow.
registered as antiques.
Nice.
And we use them every day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They are.
Still use
25
them.
years old,
25.
but we take care of them,
Right.
and they last a long time.
Well, that's the main thing. You got to take care of them. Preventive
If you don't take
maintenance.
care of nothing, it ain't gonna last.
No, it won't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, along that same line with the long tracks now, what's the opportunity for backcountry riding?
Okay. Backcountry riding. We just passed a bill a few years ago about off-trail riding. We're
Right.
having a lot of complaints from our
Yep.
landowners about off-trail riding. It's just what it says, off-trail. You see a sign that says this is a designated snowmobile trail, ITS 85, 89, 84, whatever it has, club trail. They also have signs that says stay on marked trail. When you see somebody that takes a right or takes a left and goes to somebody's alfalfa garden, field, that's a no-no, and we were getting a lot of that. New growth, new forest growth up north. Irving was having issues, and they're the largest landowner. They could shut us down just like that, and the county would be no more. So we did that, and we got that bill passed, which was an incredible bill for everybody. But there was a big learning curve because they didn't understand. You don't want us backcountry riding. I said, no, I don't care if you backcountry ride. You still can backcountry ride. But when you're on that trail, you stay on that trail. And most of the backcountry riders were people that had rode out there on those mountain trails for years and years. So, they go out and they have a fun time and they get stuck and they wreck their sleds and hit tree stumps and all that. But yeah, that was what that was all about. And so I'm glad that happened.
You don't have to convince me to stay on the trail. We were doing some ice fishing for a weekend, and we were on a groomed trail on a lake, and we decided to pull off to fish over at a spot. Well, the snow unpacked was 36 inches deep,
Oh my God.
and the sled immediately sank.
Yep.
And it was all slush at the bottom. Oh, and it was 5 degrees outside, of course.
Yeah.
And it's still slush because the snow was so heavy pushing on the ice. And we spent 3 hours digging our sleds out, trying to
Unbelievable.
get them back onto the trails because you can't go.
No.
There's nothing for the
It's a
track.
vacuum.
Yeah.
When you're riding on overflow, it's pretty tough.
It's not. So, but you mentioned stumps, hitting a stump. Or
rocks.
Or
That's covered. People go out there and they get their long track summits, 146, 154, and they go out there having fun and they get their big paddles on there. I can go any place, but we don't. This isn't the Sierra Nevadas. We don't get 24 feet of snow like they do, and those guys go out there and they have a heck of a time.
Yeah.
But not here. You can't do that. Here.
Stay on the groomed trail. It's a lot
Stay
more
on the groomed trail.
fun.
Yeah.
For sure.
We were going through Moosehead Lake during the snowstorm one time, and there was 8 of us near Keneo, and the snow was right to the bottom of our windshield. We were pushing breaking trail,
Oh my
and we
word.
kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So the trail boss said, "We're not doing this no more. Somebody's going to get hurt." So we ended up on the road, drove down the road, up the little hill. What do you suppose was waiting for us down the little hill? 2 of them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, were they angry? What do you think you're doing? They didn't write us up though. They let us go.
Yeah.
Right.
They can see the common sense of why you were doing that.
I know it. Yeah. Snowmobile trails and four-wheeler trails do coexist, but some landowners do not want us four-wheelers on snowmobile trails. Period. Landowners do not like ATVs. A lot of them don't, because of the past history of what's happened. You get a bad group of everybody in our field or in the four-wheeler field, but a lot of people don't want them on, so they gate it, chain it, signage, and that's about it.
But there are a lot of trails.
There's a lot of trails that coexist year round. Year round. People now register their four-wheelers as a snowmobile. They put tracks on them, and they giddy up and go right along with us. And most of the time, they're slow-moving vehicles, and they see a line of sleds coming, they stop, let us go by them. And that's the best thing to do.
Bob, you have both.
I have 2 of them, tracked vehicles, and I use them to take my hunters with. Over the years, the hunting population got older, and riding on a snowmobile, and when it does this, they want to put their hip out, put their leg out. And so I said, I'm going to put some tracks on a side-by-side, 4-seater, and enclose it so they can't do it. And that's what we've been using for 7-8 years now, and we have 2 of them.
Nice.
And I register this ATV as an ATV, and I register this as a snowmobile.
Right.
I just personally stay off all ATS trails.
Yeah.
They go too fast.
Yeah, right.
But club trails, no problem. So I use them in ice fishing and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's been really good.
Good.
Yeah, it's been really good.
Well, I guess that the last thing you hit there, Bob, though, is that this is really a good way for people of all ages to get outside. You know, even if you have some mobility problems, if you're on a stable sled or on a 4x4 that is properly set up, you can really get out and enjoy Mother Nature in February in Maine.
You sure can. Yep.
I use mine to drag trails all the time, snowmobile trails.
Right.
I hook the drag up behind the ATV,
Right.
and I'm inside.
Yeah.
And there's many clubs that do that now.
Yeah.
They have the.
It's nice.
Yeah, it is
You got
awesome.
They actually use an ATV as
To drag.
right.
to drag.
To drag. Yep,
I have
they do.
all-wheel drive. All 4 of them tracks are pulling.
Yep.
And so when it gets steep and
There ain't
hilly,
there's not many places you can't go with that.
No, there's not.
We've found a lot of them.
Yeah, they really do work really well. You know.
just go easy.
Yeah, just go easy.
So
I think the future's bright for ATV and snowmobiling. I think
Right.
that, and I really get that solidarity feeling with the Question 4 thing, with the
Right.
four-wheeler group and
need
the
that group.
snowmobiling group, and we
need
have
that.
to do it because you're stronger in numbers, and that proved it when we were in Augusta fighting for that bill.
Right.
You really are stronger in numbers, and to make it happen, and and I think they'll really work out fine.
Really happy to see that go through. I'm usually a fiscal hawk,
Yeah,
and
me
I I vote against most. But that was one of the things that I mean, it's opening up the state of Maine
It is.
to see it and to experience it.
Right.
So
So
the way the economy is, we really need it.
yep,
We sure do.
We need to boost here.
Yep.
it's a whole new direction for the state.
Yes,
It is.
It is.
It is, Bob. Absolutely.
Yeah, and we're glad to see it.
Yep.
need
Absolutely.
it.
I mean,
my
everybody
God.
complains about people from out of state coming here and doing stuff, but you know what? Without them right now,
Yeah. We'd be in trouble.
We'd be in trouble. We'd be in deep trouble.
No question.
well, I don't complain about people coming up here from out of state.
Me either,
Somebody else does. But Alan, really, thank you for your time.
My pleasure. This is
Thank
great.
you for what you do on
great time.
on a week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year basis. And getting out there on the trails is a great thing. It's a great opportunity for people. And
Yeah.
could you mention the association name again and where they can find out more about you?
Yeah. Maine Snowmobile Association.com website, or call 207-622-6983, and we'll get right back to you.
All right. Well,
How much
that's
does
great.
it cost to join your club? How much does it cost?
My club?
Yeah.
I'm in 6 clubs.
Well, you know, Maine Snowmobile Association.
Uh,
Club.
$15.
$15. And how many
But then-
trails can
then-
they ride?
14,000 miles of trail. But
that's
what
pretty
you
good.
can do, though, is I don't know what Mallory gets for her club.
Sure,
You find out. I think it's $35 to join a club.
sure.
And that's what most of the clubs get, that $35.
Right.
Some get 45. The bigger clubs, because they have more mileage, like a Rangeley or a Greenville or wherever they get a little bit more because they have, more of an upkeep.
Right.
I'm in
But
3
most of
clubs.
the smaller clubs, I think Oakland gets $25. I
Yeah.
think.
Right.
Cheap money
It's
for
cheap money to
all that
ride.
For the
use?
fun.
Yeah,
Oh my
I mean,
God.
it's phenomenal what they all do. Like I said, it's all volunteers, and I'm proud of every one of them guys. They do an excellent job.
Well, great.
They make it happen. They really make it happen.
Well, we look forward to a great season coming, and
hope so. Yeah.
we just hope that this new referendum, the grant money comes through, and we can make it even better. So, thank you, Alan.
Thank you for having
you.
me.
Yep,
Come
our
anytime.
pleasure.
I will.
Yep, good.
I
I'd
will.
love to have you some more.
We'll be back soon.
Maine Knows How is brought to you by Modern Woodmen of America, a member-owned fraternal financial services organization since 1883, and by Pine Grove Programs, supporting veterans, first responders, and law enforcement by providing free outdoor opportunities to those who serve, have served, and their families.
Welcome back to Maine Knows Howe. At this stage, it's time for Wyatt's how-to, and pinch hitting is Jeff Leskowoski. He's a longtime guide up here at the program, and we appreciate his advice. So what do you have for us, Jeff?
Well, I've been getting a lot of questions about shed hunting at this time of the year. And it's from a lot of older people that don't have mobility to go out and shed hunt. And we came up with an idea that would save them. They don't even have to leave their living room. What they can do, and it doesn't matter if you have a 1/4 acre of land or if you have 100 acres of land. All you need is a piece of fence, 3 foot high by 4 to 5 feet long. And you can either put it between 2 trees or you can stake it. And you put a little deer feed against the fence and around the fence. And when that old buck decides to come in, he's going to come in and he's going to get his antlers wedged in that fence and he's going to pull them. This time of the year, they're pretty easy coming off. And basically, it's good because you can watch other animals there. You'll get, like Bob always says to me, everybody's in for a free meal. And they all come. You can get anything from a gray fox to a squirrel and birds.
Right.
And they can spend the day watching them. And they can go out and pick their sheds up. They don't have to go tramping through waist deep snow, and a lot of people can't get through waist deep snow.
Right.
And that's basically my...
That's a great. So the antlers, I mean, are they, kind of itchy for these deer? Do they want to get them off?
This time of the year they come loose. It's just they're done with their breeding. They're done with their breeding. They're done with their breeding.
Right.
The hormones have changed. They're going into another season, and you can actually even help the deer out a little bit if you wanted to put some nutrition in there for them
Right.
to help with the antler growth for the next year.
Right. Just amazing. Well, that's great. Jeff, good pinch hit, single up the middle, advance the runners. You're welcome back. Bob, it's time for your story.
Jeez, oh, crony.
I hope it has something to do with a snowmobile.
Yeah, it could be. I got to think of one here. Give me 1 second. All right. I worked for a paper mill for 29 years.
Who will remain
for Scott Paper Company in Winslow. And all the guys there, we hunted and fished together a lot. So we would have a weekend off, and a whole bunch of us would go to a camp, rent a place, and go fishing. And that's what we did. We were fishing around Kineo, and there was probably 10 of us there. Peter Sack and David Carter and my friend Danny Michaud. He just passed, but he...
Describe Kineo, though.
It's the largest deposit of flintstone east of the Mississippi, totally. Wow. And it's big.
Moosehead Lake.
Moosehead Lake. And Indians years ago used it for currency because when you have no Bic lighter, any kind of flint is good, so they would trade it all over. And we still go there today, and I bring it with me on wildlife tours and moose safaris to show people how it works and how you can start a fire with it and stuff. So we'd go fishing over there, and we're all set up, and it's cold. This darn flag keeps going up. My friend Danny Michaud was his flag, and it went up like 10 times, and we're harassing him. You can't catch that fish. I think that fish smarter than you. Blah 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 blah. We're picking on him, and everybody was, So he goes over with his snowmobile, and he sits there, and that thing goes up. Son of a gun. After about a half an hour, 45 minutes, we hear a snowmobile start up, come back. And he drives up to where we're all sitting. We're all standing around. Well, we had drilled some holes to jig right there. And he drives up with his sled, and he has a brook trout about like this. And he throws it at one of the guys, hits off his shoulder and right down that hole. Spent all that time to catch that fish, gave it a snowmobile ride, ended up in the hole. So did he really catch it?
Well, that's a
Funny stuff happens, you know.
that's a fish with two lives. I'll tell you.
Son of a gun. And poor Dan, he passed on now, and he was a good fisherman. And I have some funny stories fishing with him, and we rabbit hunted together and deer hunted together for a long time. And he worked with me for 20-something years in the mill. He was a good man.
It's a great point for folks. You know, life is short. It's long, but it's short.
Yeah.
And to have those memories and those stories and getting out there, and sometimes when you're out there and you're ice fishing and it's cold, I like to refer to it from my military days as embracing the suck. But the worse it is, the more bragging rights you have later, and the more stories you have. And,
You do.
you know, God gave us this great environment that we have to play in,
Yep.
and getting out and doing it is important.
I spent a lifetime playing in it.
You have.
I have. I have, son of a gun. We've been a lot of places and fished a lot and hunted a lot and met a lot of great people.
Yeah.
And if it's grace of God
Yeah.
that we're still here doing it.
Yeah. No, and we're gonna. Our guest for next month is one of those friends that you've made.
Very good friend. He's a brother. He's
Yes,
not
he
a
is.
friend.
He's a brother.
Family.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm sure you guys will really enjoy listening and talking to him.
Yeah.
You know, because his name is Randy Flannery. He owns Wilderness Escape Outfitters in Danforth, and he is a world-class operator. His place is excellent.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really excited
No
to
better.
let everybody
Yep.
hear about that, because Randy runs a great outfit there.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a God-fearing man.
He is.
Yep.
He's a good man.
Yep.
So with that, we'll wrap it up. That's it for January,
It is.
and we'll be back in February with another podcast of Maine Knows Howe. Thank you very much.
Maine brought to you by A&G Shooting, Modern Woodmen of America, Mainly Handrails, Pine Grove Programs, and J.W. Parks Golf Course. Digital Spirit Media. Maine Knows How.